Imagine the sky, stretched out like an endless ocean. A fighter jet zips through the clouds, its engines roaring, cutting through the air at unimaginable speeds. The world below looks small and distant, a mere blur as the pilot maneuvers the aircraft with precision. The feeling of soaring through the atmosphere, of pushing the limits of speed and control, is unlike anything else on Earth. This is the world of Top Gun 2, where every dogfight is a high-stakes game of survival and strategy. But what if this thrill, this sense of danger, could be taken even further, far beyond the skies into the great, dark expanse of space? In Top Gun 2, Maverick, the audience is given a front-row seat to the thrilling dogfights of the world's top pilots. The speed, the twists, the turns, everything happens so quickly, so intensely that it feels like a heart-pounding race against time. Every move is calculated, every decision a matter of life or death. Maverick, the veteran pilot, navigates the chaos with unparalleled skill, showing what it means to push the boundaries of human performance. He isn't just fighting in the air, he's challenging the very laws of physics, dancing on the edge of what is possible. But what if the ultimate test wasn't above the Earth but beyond it? What if the same principles that govern dogfights in the skies could be applied to the most dangerous and unexplored frontier we've ever known, the universe? This documentary explores that very question, drawing a fascinating connection between the high-speed dogfights in Top Gun 2 and the complex and dangerous world of space exploration. While the world of fighter jets may seem far removed from the cold, vast emptiness of space, they share more similarities than we might think. Both worlds require precision, skill, and strategy. Both worlds demand that the pilots, whether in the cockpit or in the control rooms of space missions, push the limits of their training and their bodies. When we think of space, we often imagine a quiet, serene expanse. The vastness of the universe, with its distant stars and swirling galaxies, seems peaceful, even beautiful. But in reality, space is one of the most unforgiving environments known to humanity. Just like the dogfights Maverick engages in, where the slightest miscalculation can lead to disaster, space exploration involves a series of high-stakes decisions where even the smallest error can be catastrophic. The thrill of the dogfight is in the precision of every move. In Top Gun 2, Maverick's every action is calculated to the millisecond. His success isn't just due to his raw talent, it's about his ability to read the situation, anticipate his opponent's moves, and react instantly. This kind of thinking is exactly what astronauts need when navigating the vast and unpredictable expanse of space. But there's something even more exciting about space, the ultimate unknown. In the dogfights of Top Gun 2, Maverick is facing another pilot, a human opponent with their own set of skills and instincts. But in space, the challenges come from a different source. Instead of human enemies, astronauts are faced with the hostile environment of space itself, radiation, extreme temperatures, and the vacuum of space. There are no other pilots to outmaneuver. Instead, astronauts must battle the very forces of nature that govern the universe. The universe, much like a dogfight, is constantly moving and shifting. The laws of physics dictate that nothing stays still, everything is in motion. Just like a fighter pilot must anticipate the enemy's next move, an astronaut must anticipate the movement of planets, stars, and even entire galaxies. In space, a small change in trajectory can lead to a completely different outcome, just like a split-second decision in a dogfight can change the entire course of the battle. But what makes space so much more dangerous is the scale of the consequences. In a dogfight, a mistake may cost a life or a plane, but in space, a single misstep could lead to the loss of an entire mission, or even the lives of everyone aboard a spacecraft. There are no second chances when you're millions of miles from Earth, hurtling through the void of space. The slightest miscalculation could send an astronaut careening into the vast unknown, far from the safety of Earth's atmosphere. And yet, despite these dangers, the spirit of exploration remains the same. Just as Maverick pushes the limits of what's possible in the skies, so too do astronauts push the boundaries of human capability as they venture further into space. In both worlds, there is a shared sense of excitement, of danger, and of the unknown. Whether it's dodging missiles in a dogfight or navigating through a field of asteroids, the thrill of the chase is universal. Both pilots and astronauts must face the unknown with courage and determination, always on the edge of their seats, ready to react to the unexpected. The connection between dogfights and space exploration doesn't end with the physical challenges of maneuvering in extreme conditions. There's also a mental component to both worlds. The tension and stress felt during a dogfight is unmatched. Every decision must be made in real time, every action has a consequence. The pilot is alone in the cockpit, relying on their instincts and experience to navigate the chaos. Similarly, astronauts face similar pressure. Every space mission is a race against time, whether it's ensuring the safety of the crew, avoiding dangerous obstacles, or returning home after months of isolation in space. Both environments require incredible focus and mental fortitude. In Top Gun 2, Maverick has to make split-second decisions, trusting his instincts and knowledge to get him out of tricky situations. In space, astronauts must rely on the same mental clarity, ensuring that every calculation is perfect, every move well thought out. The weight of responsibility is constant, and the ability to stay calm under pressure can mean the difference between life and death. The unpredictability of both environments adds another layer of suspense. In Top Gun 2, the dogfights are fast-paced, constantly shifting with no time to relax. The pilots must stay alert, constantly aware of their surroundings and always ready for the next move. Space exploration, too, is filled with unknowns. Each mission is a leap of faith into the void, where new challenges await at every turn. From the challenges of landing on distant planets to the dangers of deep space travel, every moment is fraught with uncertainty. And just like a dogfight, astronauts must remain agile, adaptable, and prepared for anything. But perhaps the greatest connection between the two worlds is the idea of pushing human boundaries. Maverick's journey in Top Gun 2 is all about defying the limits of what's possible, testing the limits of human skill, endurance, and courage. Similarly, space exploration is a continuous journey of pushing boundaries. Every mission that ventures into space, whether it's sending humans to the moon or launching probes to distant planets, is a step forward into the unknown. Just as Maverick faces challenges that seem impossible to overcome, astronauts too must face the challenges of space, knowing that every mission has the potential to expand the frontiers of human knowledge and ability. In the next parts of this documentary, we will dive deeper into the specifics of how space exploration mirrors the intensity and excitement of the dogfights in Top Gun 2. From the science behind speed and agility in both air combat and space missions, to the mental and physical endurance required in both worlds, we will explore how the principles of precision, strategy, and human determination apply to the unknowns of both the sky and the stars. But for now, remember this. The next time you watch Maverick soar through the sky, think of this. His fight may just be a glimpse into a future where humanity pushes beyond the atmosphere, reaching for the stars and beyond. It's a journey that has already begun, and just like Maverick, we're all ready to take that leap into the unknown. This part of the documentary sets the tone for the entire series, with an engaging introduction that ties the excitement of Top Gun 2 to the mysteries of space, building suspense and anticipation for the exploration of space's dangers and wonders in later sections in the world of Top Gun 2. Speed is everything. The fighter jets in Maverick's world cut through the air with incredible force, flying at speeds that blur the lines between man and machine. The pilots, however, are more than just passengers in these high-speed machines. They are the heart and soul of the operation. Every twist, every turn, every drop of altitude is a calculated move. These pilots are dancers in the sky, moving with a grace and precision that's honed over years of training and experience. But what happens when these same skills are taken from the skies and applied to the vastness of space, where the rules of motion and maneuvering are far different from the ones we know on Earth? Let's take a moment to think about the thrill of a high-speed dogfight. Maverick, with his decades of flying experience, knows exactly what it takes to outmaneuver his opponent. The world around him is a blur, the sound of his jet engine roaring in his ears as he makes hair-raising turns and evasive maneuvers. The control is in his hands, and every decision, every millisecond matters. One wrong move could mean disaster. In a dogfight, the key is to remain unpredictable, to outthink and outmaneuver the enemy at every turn. The pilot must become one with the machine, pushing it beyond its limits while keeping a sharp eye on the situation, constantly calculating the next move. In the world of space exploration, agility takes on a different meaning. While a fighter jet's agility is measured in split-second turns and rapid accelerations, in space, agility is about something else entirely. It's about the ability to predict and adjust trajectories in a world where there is no air resistance, no friction to slow things down. The art of maneuvering in space isn't just about quick reactions, it's about understanding the vast forces at play and using them to your advantage. There's no turning on a dime in space. Instead, astronauts must calculate every move with the utmost precision. Every adjustment to their trajectory, whether it's a slight course correction during orbit or a full-on burn to adjust a spacecraft's path, requires an understanding of physics that can only come from years of training and a deep respect for the laws of motion. So how do these two worlds, one of high-speed dogfights and the other of space exploration, align in terms of agility? In both realms, pilots and astronauts are constantly working to maximize their ability to move through an environment that's hostile and unforgiving. But where fighter jets rely on rapid acceleration and deceleration, spacecraft rely on gravity assists, orbital mechanics, and the very forces that govern the universe. To understand this, we must first look at how speed works in the world of Top Gun 2. The jet's Maverick pilots are capable of reaching speeds that push the limits of what the human body can withstand. The G-forces alone are enough to leave a pilot feeling disoriented or even unconscious. But Maverick is different. He's mastered the art of controlling his body under extreme pressure, of staying sharp and focused even when the forces pushing against him seem overwhelming. Every turn, every dive, every climb is part of a well-rehearsed dance, choreographed by years of experience and the kind of instinct that comes only from mastering your craft. Maverick's skill isn't just in his ability to pull off insane stunts or outmaneuver his opponents. His true talent lies in his precision, knowing exactly when to make the right move, calculating the exact angle at which to dive or climb, anticipating where his enemy will be even before they know it themselves. This is the essence of agility in the sky. A pilot like Maverick doesn't just react to situations. He anticipates them, outthinking and outmaneuvering his opponents with an almost superhuman understanding of physics and instinct. In space, however, the stakes are even higher. Unlike a dogfight where an aircraft is constantly interacting with the atmosphere, space offers no such feedback. There's no air resistance, no wind to slow you down or help you make those quick turns. In space, the laws of motion are governed by inertia. Once an object is moving, it will continue in a straight line unless a force acts upon it. This makes maneuvering much more complex than in the skies. Unlike Maverick's high-speed turns, an astronaut can't simply change direction on a whim. Every course correction requires careful calculation, often taking hours or even days to plan and execute. Think about it. When a spacecraft needs to adjust its orbit or change direction, it doesn't just hit the throttle and change course like a fighter jet. Instead, the spacecraft relies on rocket engines that fire for extended periods, slowly altering its trajectory over time. These burns, small, controlled bursts of fuel, are carefully calculated, taking into account the spacecraft's speed, current location, and the gravitational forces acting on it. The result is a gradual shift in course, one that could take hours to fully realize. Unlike the fighter jets in Top Gun 2, where a small, rapid movement can have a huge effect in space, every change requires a long, slow burn to achieve the desired result. This difference in maneuvering techniques underscores a key distinction between air combat and space exploration. While both worlds require precision, space demands a level of patience and foresight that is unimaginable in the fast-paced world of dogfights. To make a quick maneuver in space requires careful planning, complex calculations, and a deep understanding of orbital mechanics. But what if we could somehow combine the agility of a fighter jet with the vast precision required in space? This is where the future of space exploration is headed. As technology advances, spacecraft are becoming increasingly more agile, with better control over their trajectory. The development of advanced thrusters, such as ion engines, is pushing the boundaries of what's possible in space travel. These engines are highly efficient and capable of providing constant, low-thrust propulsion over long periods, allowing spacecraft to make more precise adjustments to their orbit and trajectory. It's like combining the speed and agility of a fighter jet with the precision of a spacecraft, bringing the best of both worlds into one. But the challenge doesn't stop at propulsion. As space agencies look to the future, the possibility of space combat is no longer a far-off concept. Just as Maverick's dogfights represent the peak of human skill and agility in the air, the future of space exploration could involve spacecraft designed for high-speed maneuvers in the vacuum of space. The idea of space combat, while still in its infancy, is beginning to take shape. With advanced technology, spacecraft could one day engage in complex maneuvers, much like the dogfights we see in Top Gun 2. These space battles would require not just incredible agility, but also the ability to react quickly and think strategically in a completely new environment. In the next few decades, space exploration could become a high-speed, high-stakes game, where spacecraft move through the void of space with the same precision and agility that Maverick exhibits in the skies. Whether it's navigating through asteroid fields or dodging threats in deep space, the future of space exploration may very well depend on the ability to perform quick, precise maneuvers in an environment where every action has consequences. As we look ahead to the future of space exploration, it's clear that the battle for speed and agility is far from over. Just as Maverick continues to push the limits of what's possible in the skies, humanity will continue to push the boundaries of space exploration, seeking new ways to navigate the vast, unknown cosmos with the same skill, precision, and agility that fighter pilots use in the skies. And just like the high-speed dogfights in Top Gun 2, the battles in space will be as thrilling and unpredictable as anything we've seen before. In the next part of this documentary, we'll explore the science behind these high-speed maneuvers, diving deep into the physics of both air combat and space travel, and how both worlds are connected by the laws of motion and forces that shape our universe. This part dives deep into the comparison between speed and agility in dogfights and space exploration, while keeping it cinematic and engaging. The idea is to keep the audience intrigued by the link between the fast-paced world of fighter jets and the complex, slow-moving world of space maneuvering, while hinting at the future possibilities of space technology in Top Gun 2. Speed isn't just a feature. It's a way of life. It defines the very nature of the combat and the sheer intensity of the action. The fighter jets are designed to push the limits of human capability, slicing through the air at speeds that would be unthinkable to most of us. The roar of the engines, the G-forces pressing against the pilots' bodies, the rush of wind and pressure, everything about a dogfight is a high-speed game, where physics and precision meet in a deadly dance. But as we'll see, the principles governing these high-speed maneuvers aren't just confined to the skies. They also apply to the space missions that venture far beyond our planet, where speed, momentum, and the laws of physics play a critical role in determining success or failure. Let's begin by breaking down the forces at play in a dogfight. In the world of fighter jets, speed is only part of the equation. To truly understand what makes a dogfight so intense, we must look at the forces that act on the jet and its pilot. The most immediate and obvious of these forces is thrust, the force produced by the jet engines that propels the aircraft forward. But while thrust gives the jet speed, it's the aerodynamic forces that determine how well it can maneuver through the air. As a fighter jet accelerates, the pilot feels the force of inertia pushing them back into their seat. This is due to the jet's acceleration, how quickly it changes its speed. In a dogfight, the ability to rapidly change speed and direction is crucial. Pilots like Maverick are trained to withstand intense forces, making quick turns, climbs, and dives in a way that might seem impossible to the untrained eye. But it's all governed by basic physics, specifically Newton's laws of motion. One of the most critical forces in a high-speed dogfight is centripetal force, the force that allows an object to move in a circular path. In a dogfight, when a pilot pulls a hard turn to the left or right, the jet doesn't simply change direction. Instead, it continues on its original path due to inertia. The pilot must pull back on the controls to generate the lift necessary to change the aircraft's path. This lift is provided by the wings of the jet, but it comes at a price. The sharper the turn, the more lift is required, which means the more G-forces the pilot experiences. For experienced pilots like Maverick, this is a physical challenge. They must learn to push through the intense pressure without losing consciousness or control of the aircraft. In addition to G-forces, another important factor is drag. Drag is the resistance that the air creates as the jet moves through it. The faster the jet goes, the more drag it creates, which in turn affects its ability to maintain high speeds. This is why high-speed dogfights often involve quick bursts of acceleration followed by sharp turns, as pilots try to reduce drag and maintain control while gaining an advantage over their opponent. It's a constant balancing act between speed, control, and endurance. But let's zoom out for a moment and think about how these same principles apply in the vast emptiness of space. Space, unlike the skies, doesn't have air to provide resistance. There's no drag to slow down a spacecraft, no atmosphere to create turbulence. But that doesn't mean space is any less challenging when it comes to high-speed travel. In fact, space travel relies even more on the fundamental principles of physics, particularly the concepts of inertia and momentum. In space, once a spacecraft is set into motion, it keeps moving in a straight line unless acted upon by an external force. This is a direct application of Newton's first law of motion. An object in motion will stay in motion unless something causes it to change direction. This is both an advantage and a challenge. In the world of Top Gun 2, fighter jets can change their course at the flick of a switch. But in space, once a spacecraft reaches a certain speed, it will continue to move in that direction until fuel is used to adjust its trajectory. There's no friction to slow it down, and no air resistance to push against. This means astronauts must carefully plan their movements, taking into account the vast distances and the long periods of time it takes to adjust course. Just like a fighter pilot uses quick adjustments to avoid enemy missiles, astronauts rely on small but powerful thrusters to make their adjustments in space. These thrusters are designed to fire for long periods of time, gradually changing the spacecraft's speed and direction. But unlike the quick bursts of speed in a dogfight, these movements are slow and deliberate. They require precise calculations to ensure the spacecraft is on the right trajectory to reach its destination. It's the same principle, but the pace is different. In space, speed is still important, but control is even more critical. One of the most fascinating aspects of space travel is how spacecraft take advantage of orbital mechanics, the science that governs how objects move through space. Just as Maverick can't make a sharp turn without generating huge G-forces, astronauts can't simply make a sudden move in space. Instead, they must rely on gravity assists, orbital slingshots, and other techniques that allow them to conserve fuel and adjust their path in the most efficient way possible. These techniques often involve using the gravitational pull of planet or moon to change the spacecraft's velocity and direction without using additional fuel. It's a brilliant way to navigate the vast distances of space, but it requires an incredible understanding of physics and precision timing. Now let's return to the world of dogfights. In Top Gun 2, Maverick's greatest strength lies in his ability to read the situation and react in real time. He doesn't just follow a preset path, he adapts to the changing circumstances around him. In a high-speed dogfight, every second counts. When an enemy pilot fires a missile, the race is on to outmaneuver it. Every decision is crucial. A simple miscalculation could mean the difference between life and death. The key to surviving a dogfight is understanding the physics of the situation, how the jet will respond to every move, every turn, every roll. In space, astronauts face a different kind of pressure. Instead of reacting to an immediate threat, they must anticipate the consequences of their actions hours, days, or even months in advance. The principle of momentum is key here. Once a spacecraft is on a path, it will continue on that path unless acted upon by a force. Unlike the jet pilots in Top Gun 2, astronauts can't rely on split-second decisions. Instead, they must calculate every move with precision, ensuring that each course correction is part of a larger, carefully planned strategy. Even the slightest miscalculation could send them off course, potentially leaving them stranded in space. To make this point clearer, think of the Apollo missions, where astronauts had to use the principles of physics to navigate their way to the moon. The burns they performed were calculated based on the spacecraft's position, velocity, and the gravitational forces acting upon it. Just like Maverick's sharp turns in Top Gun 2, these burns had to be executed at precisely the right moment, with no room for error. A small change in timing could send the spacecraft into a completely different orbit, far from the intended destination. The G-forces that astronauts experience during launches and re-entries are also a factor in their movements. Just as a fighter jet pilot endures extreme forces when performing maneuvers, astronauts must also deal with the intense forces during launch and re-entry. The difference, of course, is that astronauts are subjected to these forces for much longer periods. During launch, the spacecraft accelerates rapidly, and the astronauts feel the crushing pressure as the G-forces build. This is similar to the sensation Maverick experiences when he's in the midst of a dogfight, though the forces astronauts face are far more prolonged. The connection between the world of Top Gun 2 and space exploration is clear. Both worlds demand a deep understanding of the fundamental laws of physics, and both require the ability to push human limits in the face of extreme conditions. The high-speed dogfights of Top Gun 2 may seem like an intense, high-stakes game of skill and precision, but they are governed by the same principles that guide spacecraft as they soar through the stars. In the next part of this documentary, we'll explore the mental and emotional challenges faced by pilots in Top Gun 2 and astronauts in space. Just as Maverick battles the fear and pressure of combat, astronauts must also face their own demons as they venture into the unknown, far from the safety of Earth. This part connects the high-speed dynamics of fighter jets in Top Gun 2 to the fundamental physics of space exploration. It emphasizes the similarities in the forces acting on both pilots and astronauts, providing a clear and engaging explanation of the scientific principles at play in each world. This approach keeps the documentary both informative and thrilling, while also making the complex science accessible to a broad audience. Continue next part. Har part 1400 words ka, unique or interesting hona chahiai. In the world of Top Gun 2, danger is immediate, visceral, and in your face. Every dogfight is a life-or-death struggle, and the stakes are as high as they can get. Maverick, the ace pilot, knows that his every move, every maneuver could be his last. But while the physical threats in the sky are obvious, enemy jets, missiles, high-speed chases, there are other far more subtle dangers that lie beyond our atmosphere. These silent threats, lurking in the vast emptiness of space, are not as easily seen or understood as the missiles and firepower of a dogfight, but they are just as deadly, if not more so. While Maverick's battles are fought with precision and speed, astronauts fight against dangers that are invisible yet all-encompassing. The hazards of space are not fought with quick maneuvers or split-second decisions, but with careful preparation, calculated engineering, and constant vigilance. These dangers, radiation, extreme temperatures, the vacuum of space, are all silent and unseen forces that could slowly chip away at the health and safety of any astronaut. And yet, despite the obvious danger, the future of human space exploration depends on humanity's ability to confront these very threats head-on. Let's start by considering one of the most lethal, yet invisible dangers of space: cosmic radiation. unlike the skies Maverick flies through, which are filled with atmospheric layers that protect pilots from harmful radiation. Space offers no such shield. Once astronauts leave the relative safety of Earth's atmosphere, they are exposed to a form of radiation that can be harmful or even fatal over time. In deep space, high-energy particles from the sun and beyond bombarded their bodies, increasing their risk of cancer, radiation sickness, and genetic mutations. There are no shields in space that can completely block out this radiation, and the farther we travel into the cosmos, the greater the threat becomes. While Maverick faces missiles and enemy jets, tangible, visible threats that he can counter with his skill and reflexes, astronauts face a threat that can't be avoided with speed, maneuvering, or technology. The most advanced spacecraft can't shield against cosmic radiation indefinitely. In fact, astronauts on long-duration missions, such as the journey to Mars, would be exposed to significantly higher levels of radiation than we are accustomed to on Earth. The challenge lies in developing technology and systems that can protect astronauts from this invisible threat without compromising the mission. This is where the fight in space takes on a different dimension. In Top Gun 2, every turn Maverick makes is designed to evade a visible threat, an enemy jet or missile in hot pursuit. But in space, the challenge is constant and passive, the radiation is ever-present, and the solutions to combating it are still in their infancy. Space agencies like NASA are working on innovative solutions like radiation shielding and protective habitats that could help minimize the radiation exposure during long missions. But the question remains, how much can we truly shield astronauts from the radiation that comes with venturing beyond Earth's protective atmosphere? As we plan for missions to Mars and beyond, this threat will become even more significant, and we'll need to rely on both technology and ingenuity to safeguard astronauts. While radiation is a threat that lingers silently, there are more immediate dangers that arise from the harsh conditions of space. One of the most striking threats astronauts face is the extreme temperatures. Space is a place of incredible contrasts, where temperatures can range from hundreds of degrees below freezing in the shadow of a planet to several hundred degrees above boiling when exposed to the sun. There is no atmosphere in space to regulate temperature, so astronauts in space must rely on their spacecraft or suits to survive. Without this technology, human life would be impossible in the unforgiving environment of space. Think of it this way. Just as Maverick must stay focused and in control to prevent his jet from crashing or spiraling out of control, astronauts must ensure their spacecraft maintains the proper temperature balance. Too much heat and the spacecraft could overheat, causing systems to fail. Too much cold and critical components could freeze, leading to catastrophic failure. The spacecraft's onboard life support systems, which include thermal regulation systems, must maintain the right balance to ensure the astronaut's safety. Every mission is a delicate balance, a finely tuned system designed to protect those who venture into space from the extremes of temperature that exist outside our protective atmosphere. While Maverick's danger comes in the form of missiles locking onto his jet, space presents a completely different type of danger, one that is silently lurking: the vacuum of space. In the vacuum of space, there is no air to breathe and no pressure to keep your body intact. A simple tear in a spacesuit can cause the immediate loss of life. The vacuum's effect on the human body would be devastating. Without pressure, bodily fluids begin to boil at lower temperatures, and without air to breathe, humans can lose consciousness in seconds. While Maverick can avoid missile locks or outmaneuver enemy jets with his sharp reflexes, astronauts must rely on their training, their suits, and their spacecraft to survive in this lifeless void. Amazingly, spacesuits and spacecraft have been designed to withstand these threats. But even with the best technology, astronauts must always be vigilant against the risks posed by the vacuum of space. Any malfunction or failure in the spacecraft's seals or life support systems could result in immediate danger to the astronauts aboard. In a dogfight, an enemy missile might threaten a pilot's life instantly, but the vacuum of space presents a slower, but just as dangerous threat. A constant, silent battle for survival against an environment that is unyielding and indifferent to human life. The key to overcoming these silent threats in space is technology and preparation. Just as Maverick trusts his aircraft to help him survive in a dogfight, astronauts rely on their spacecraft, spacesuits, and mission control to help them stay safe in space. However, unlike in a dogfight, where the pilot's skill plays an immediate role in evading threats, astronauts must depend on engineering, technology, and teamwork to avoid catastrophe in space. As we look to the future of space exploration, particularly missions to Mars and beyond, the technology needed to keep astronauts safe is advancing rapidly. Companies and space agencies are developing advanced life support systems that can recycle air, water, and even food, as well as radiation shields and thermal control systems that will help protect astronauts from the extreme conditions of space. But there is still so much to learn and discover. The realities of space travel are far more complex than the controlled environment of a dogfight. Where Maverick faces physical, psychological, and emotional dangers all at once, astronauts in space face a host of threats that require constant monitoring, careful preparation, and adaptation to survive. Despite the risks, humanity continues to push forward into space. Much like Maverick's resolve to keep flying, astronauts' determination to explore the stars is unshaken. They are driven not just by the desire for adventure, but by the need to explore the unknown and answer questions that have haunted humanity for centuries. Are we alone in the universe? What's out there beyond our planet? What's the future of human existence in space? As we look ahead to future missions to Mars, to the moons of Jupiter, and even beyond, one thing is clear. Space will always be an environment that tests the limits of human endurance, just as Maverick's dogfights test the limits of human skill and bravery. But the ultimate test for both fighter pilots and astronauts is the ability to navigate the dangers of the unknown with courage, intelligence, and resilience. In the next part of this documentary, we'll explore the cutting-edge technologies being developed to overcome the threats of space and ensure that humanity's journey into the stars continues, unimpeded by the silent dangers that await. In this section, we've delved into the silent threats of space, such as cosmic radiation, extreme temperatures, and the vacuum of space, and compared them to the immediate, tangible threats Maverick faces in a dogfight. The aim is to highlight how both pilots and astronauts must battle dangerous environments, but with very different sets of tools and skills. While Maverick relies on speed and reflexes, astronauts depend on technology, careful planning, and advanced engineering to survive in the harsh conditions of space. This comparison brings the space exploration narrative into a more relatable light, linking it back to the thrilling world of Top Gun 2. In Top Gun 2, Maverick isn't just a pilot with exceptional skills, he's a master of strategy. His ability to think quickly, read the environment, and anticipate enemy moves makes him one of the best in the world. Each dogfight he engages in is not just about raw speed or physical ability, but about outthinking and outmaneuvering his opponent. Every turn, every roll, every move is part of a carefully crafted strategy that can change in the blink of an eye. In many ways, this strategic thinking in the heat of battle mirrors the tactics used by astronauts in space exploration. Just as Maverick must predict his opponent's next move, astronauts must think ahead, often calculating their every move in advance to ensure the success of their missions. Whether navigating through an asteroid belt, docking with a space station, or landing on the moon, astronauts rely on careful planning, precision, and the ability to adapt in the face of unpredictable challenges. But while Maverick's battles are often fought in real time with immediate consequences, space exploration is a much more slow-burning, methodical exercise. Success in space doesn't come from quick reactions. It comes from the ability to think several steps ahead and make careful, calculated decisions. This difference in the speed of execution is what makes space missions so uniquely challenging. In the world of fighter jets, you might have mere seconds to decide your next move. But in space, those decisions can take hours, days, or even months to come to fruition. The role of tactical thinking in combat. To understand the importance of strategic thinking in both dogfights and space missions, let's first examine how tactical maneuvers play out in the high-stakes world of Top Gun 2. Dogfighting is often referred to as a game of chess in the sky. Maverick's ability to read the battlefield, predicting his enemy's moves, understanding the terrain, and calculating the most efficient escape routes makes him a dangerous adversary. The most experienced pilots don't just fly their jets, they think several moves ahead, using their opponent's weaknesses against them. One of Maverick's strengths is his ability to stay calm under pressure and see opportunities where others might see only danger. In a pivotal moment, he is faced with a seemingly impossible situation where his enemy's advantage seems insurmountable. But instead of panicking, Maverick uses his knowledge of aerodynamics and his deep understanding of fighter tactics to turn the tables. He knows the moment he has to strike and the precise angle at which to move. His timing is flawless, and his tactics are the difference between life and death. But what makes this so fascinating is that, while Maverick may have mere seconds to decide his next move, the consequences of those decisions are immediate. If he chooses wrong, he risks death or failure. His tactics must be sharp, precise, and quick. There's no room for hesitation in a dogfight, no space for second-guessing. Every move he makes is part of a well-planned strategy, but that plan must adapt to the constantly shifting reality of the dogfight. The key to success is adaptability, being able to quickly adjust tactics to deal with a new, unforeseen threat. This is where the world of space exploration differs. In space, astronauts don't have the luxury of reacting in the same way. Their missions involve long-term planning, and even the smallest mistake can have far-reaching consequences. Imagine an astronaut attempting to dock with the International Space Station, ISS, during a spacewalk or perform a crucial burn to adjust their trajectory. These actions require meticulous planning, exact calculations, and the constant consideration of forces such as orbital velocity and gravitational influences. It's not a matter of quick reflexes, but a matter of foresight. Strategic planning in space, just as Maverick spends years perfecting his craft. Astronauts spend years preparing for their missions, studying the intricacies of their spacecraft, understanding the physics of space travel, and preparing for the psychological challenges of long-term space missions. In many ways, astronauts are the ultimate strategists. Where a fighter pilot must think fast and adapt quickly, astronauts must anticipate every possible outcome, plan for the unexpected, and prepare for a range of scenarios that could unfold during the mission. The role of orbital mechanics in space exploration highlights the level of strategy required. When a spacecraft is traveling through space, it's not simply moving in a straight line. The path it takes must account for various forces such as gravity, interplanetary motion, and orbital transfers. For example, to reach the moon, a spacecraft must perform a carefully calculated maneuver known as a translunar injection. This maneuver requires the spacecraft to reach a specific velocity and trajectory to break free from Earth's gravity and enter orbit around the moon. Any miscalculation, no matter how small, can send the spacecraft off course, potentially stranding it in space. This strategic thinking is also evident in how astronauts manage their spacecraft's resources. Unlike in a dogfight, where a pilot has immediate access to fuel, ammunition, and support, astronauts must carefully manage their spacecraft's fuel, oxygen, food, and water for the entirety of their mission. For instance, on long-duration missions such as to Mars, astronauts will need to conserve energy, utilize closed-loop life support systems, and ensure that their spacecraft remains in optimal condition for the duration of the trip. On Earth, we have the luxury of adjusting on the fly. A dogfight can end in seconds, and mistakes can often be corrected. But in space, the stakes are much higher. If an astronaut makes a mistake, the consequences can be irreversible. Therefore, careful preparation and strategic thinking are critical to ensure that everything goes according to plan. The tactical advantage of knowing the terrain in Top Gun 2, Maverick's ability to read the battlefield and understand the terrain around him, gives him a significant advantage over his opponents. Whether it's understanding the flight patterns of enemy jets, using the geography of the landscape to his advantage, or recognizing when to take risks, Maverick's tactical genius shines through in the most challenging dogfights. This skill isn't just about the mechanics of flight, it's about knowing when to take action and when to wait, about understanding the context of every battle. Space, too, requires a similar understanding of terrain, but in this case, the terrain is the vastness of space itself. Astronauts must understand the positions of celestial bodies, the mechanics of gravity, and the potential hazards presented by objects like asteroids or space debris. Navigating through space isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's about anticipating what lies ahead and making strategic decisions based on what is known and unknown about the environment. Take the example of asteroid mining or deep space exploration. Imagine a spacecraft traveling toward an asteroid field or moving through the outer reaches of the solar system. It's not just about going fast. It's about knowing where to maneuver, when to accelerate, and when to take a calculated risk. Astronauts must understand the distribution of asteroids, the speed of incoming objects, and how to adjust their spacecraft's trajectory to avoid collisions. These tactics are not unlike the strategic decisions Maverick makes during a dogfight, except that here, the battlefield is the entire cosmos. Adapting tactics to the environment. Maverick's genius lies not only in his ability to outfly his enemies, but in his understanding of the battlefield. The environment around him, whether it's the unpredictable nature of the air, the terrain below, or the limitations of his own aircraft, dictates how he adapts his strategy. If he's too predictable, he's vulnerable. If he doesn't adapt quickly enough, he could be taken out. Maverick understands that to win, he must constantly evolve and adjust his tactics based on the situation at hand. Astronauts similarly must constantly adapt to the dynamic and evolving environment of space. Their missions are filled with unknowns, and they must be prepared to deal with unexpected challenges. From technical failures to unexpected space weather events, astronauts need to stay flexible and ready to change course when necessary. Their success depends not just on their technical skills, but on their ability to make strategic decisions in real time, adjusting their approach to overcome new challenges. Take, for example, a spacewalk. When astronauts exit their spacecraft and float in the vacuum of space, they are exposed to a new set of dangers. Every movement requires careful planning and precise actions. The use of manipulators and thrusters to adjust their position, avoid debris, and maintain their trajectory requires an almost intuitive understanding of the environment, as well as an adaptable strategy that can change from moment to moment. The future of space combat. A new era of strategy as space exploration moves into a new era. The strategic thinking and tactics employed in combat may one day have a direct impact on the future of space exploration. We may soon find ourselves in a situation where strategic military tactics could be necessary for space defense, as countries and private organizations venture further into the cosmos. Just as Maverick skills in dogfighting are a product of years of practice and expertise, space strategies will evolve based on the vastness and dangers of the new frontier. In the coming years, as humanity continues to develop deep space travel and interplanetary missions, the strategic thinking of space exploration will need to adapt to new challenges. Spacecraft will need to be faster, more agile, and more capable of responding to unforeseen threats. This new era of exploration and potential space defense will require a level of tactical expertise that combines the skill of Maverick's dogfighting with the precision of space navigation. In this section, we've explored how both Maverick's dogfights and astronauts' missions are driven by strategic thinking and tactical maneuvers. We examined how Maverick's ability to read the battlefield, adapt his tactics, and make real-time decisions parallels the careful planning, resource management, and long-term thinking that astronauts must employ. This comparison underscores the complexity and importance of strategy. Whether in the sky or in the vast expanse of space in the world of Top Gun 2, Maverick isn't just flying a plane. He's piloting a machine designed to push the limits of human capability. His fighter jet is a technological marvel, built for speed, agility, and precision. Every dogfight Maverick engages in showcases not only his skill as a pilot, but also the incredible technology that supports him in the air. From the jet's advanced avionics to its supersonic capabilities, these machines represent the cutting edge of aviation. But what if the future of warfare and space exploration were to converge? What if in the not-too-distant future the high-speed, high-stakes dogfights of Top Gun 2 were mirrored in space, where spacecraft built with similar speed and agility engaged in epic battles across the cosmos? This might sound like a far-fetched science fiction dream, but with the rapid advancements in both space technology and aerial combat systems, the lines between the two could one day blur. As humanity moves deeper into space, the technology we're developing could one day transform not only how we explore the cosmos, but also how we defend it. The era of high-tech space combat could soon be upon us, combining the precision of modern fighter jets with the vastness and unpredictability of space. The evolution of spacecraft technology as we look to the future of space exploration, we're already seeing breakthroughs in spacecraft technology that are changing the way we think about navigating the cosmos. Traditionally, space travel has been slow and methodical. Spacecraft are designed for long-duration missions, with a focus on efficiency and fuel conservation. However, the growing interest in commercial space travel and deep space exploration is pushing the boundaries of what spacecraft can do. SpaceX's Starship is one of the most promising advancements in this area. Designed for missions to the Moon, Mars, and beyond, Starship represents the future of interplanetary travel. Unlike traditional spacecraft, which rely on heavy rockets to launch, Starship is designed to be reusable, cutting down costs and increasing the frequency of launches. The Raptor engines that power Starship are incredibly efficient, making it possible to travel faster and more efficiently than ever before. This cutting-edge spacecraft technology is designed to take humans to distant planets, but what if it could one day engage in high-speed maneuvering similar to the dogfights we see in Top Gun 2? While we're far from space dogfights today, the increasing speed, agility, and efficiency of spacecraft suggest that such a future is within reach. Spacecraft agility, once limited by the need to conserve fuel and avoid gravitational forces, is becoming more advanced. New propulsion technologies, such as ion engines and nuclear thermal propulsion, promise to revolutionize space travel by allowing spacecraft to achieve higher speeds and greater maneuverability in the vacuum of space. These technologies are still in their infancy, but could one day enable spacecraft to navigate space with the same precision and agility that fighter jets demonstrate in the sky. Space combat in the future. What it could look like. Imagine a future where nations and corporations not only send spacecraft into orbit, but also deploy them in strategic high-speed battles for control of valuable space resources or to protect satellite networks from threats. The concept of space combat might seem like something from a science fiction movie, but recent technological advances suggest that the foundations for space defense could already be in the works. In the future, we may see spacecraft designed not only for exploration but also for defense. These spacecraft fighter jets would be equipped with the latest defensive and offensive weaponry, such as laser systems, missile interception technologies, and directed energy weapons that could disable or destroy enemy spacecraft. Much like Maverick's fighter jet, these space combat crafts would need to be incredibly maneuverable, capable of high-speed evasions and tight turns to avoid incoming fire. The development of AI-controlled drones and autonomous spacecraft is already underway. These machines, equipped with advanced algorithms, could make split-second decisions based on the environment around them, just like Maverick in a dogfight. These drones would be able to react to threats with the speed and precision required to outmaneuver even the most advanced adversaries. The use of machine learning would allow these drones to adapt to new threats and learn from previous encounters, just as Maverick adapts his flying techniques based on his experiences in the sky. However, space combat will not only involve direct physical combat. One of the key areas that will shape the future of space defense is the electromagnetic spectrum, the invisible battlefield that spans radio frequencies, radar waves, and laser light. In the future, spacecraft may rely on sophisticated jamming systems to disrupt enemy communications or navigation systems. Just as Maverick uses his advanced radar to track and outmaneuver his enemies, space combat pilots will rely on an array of sensors, including space-based radar and infrared tracking systems, to detect and engage enemy craft. Space weapons, a new age of technology. While the idea of space combat may still seem distant, weapons technology is already advancing rapidly in space. Directed energy weapons, such as lasers and particle beam weapons, are being developed to target and disable enemy spacecraft from a distance. These weapons are incredibly powerful and could disable spacecraft without causing the kinds of explosions or debris that come with conventional missile warfare. The benefit of such weapons in space combat is clear. They can target specific systems on enemy spacecraft, such as communications, propulsion, or weapon systems, without destroying the entire vehicle. This precision is key in a future where space assets are crucial for communication, navigation, and defense. The kinetic energy weapon is another possible future weapon for space combat. These systems would use high-speed projectiles to destroy enemy spacecraft by sheer impact force, similar to the missile lock systems seen in dogfights. The concept of a space gun, capable of launching projectiles at extremely high speeds, is being explored by military organizations worldwide. These weapons would be able to strike at incoming threats before they can get within close range of a target, making them ideal for intercepting hostile spacecraft in orbit or in deep space. While these technologies are still in the research and development phase, the potential for space combat to mirror the high-speed dogfights of Top Gun 2 is becoming more and more plausible. The combination of fast-moving spacecraft, highly precise weapon systems, and autonomous navigation could transform space defense into a highly dynamic, tactical environment, much like the high-stakes aerial battles Maverick faces. Pilots of the future. Space combat training. In the future of space combat, pilots won't just be skilled in the art of flying. They'll need to be experts in navigating space, managing advanced technologies, and understanding the unique challenges of combat in zero gravity. Just like Maverick's intense training in Top Gun 2, future space combat pilots will undergo rigorous preparation to ensure that they are ready for the mental and physical challenges of operating in space. The training for space combat would differ from traditional dogfight training in many ways. For example, gravity no longer becomes a factor in space. Instead, astronauts would have to train for how to move and handle equipment in zero-gravity conditions. Combat maneuvers in space would rely heavily on understanding the principles of inertia, momentum, and orbital mechanics, rather than relying on quick reactions to physical forces like in a jet. The development of virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR systems could play a significant role in training the next generation of space pilots. VR simulations would allow trainees to experience complex space combat scenarios, maneuvering spacecraft in a 3D environment and learning how to anticipate threats, engage in evasive actions, and apply strategies in real time. These simulations could be enhanced by AI, which would adapt the training environment based on the actions of the trainee, creating a truly immersive and dynamic learning experience. The mental and physical resilience required for such missions would be similar to that of fighter pilots today. Space combat pilots would need to manage stress, make quick decisions, and stay focused in a high-pressure environment, all while dealing with the challenges of space travel, including long-duration isolation, sensor overload, and the ever-present risk of being cut off from Earth. A future on the horizon, the idea of high-speed dogfights in space may still seem like science fiction, but the rapid pace of technological development in both space travel and aerial combat suggests that such a future is not as far off as it might seem. The convergence of advanced propulsion technologies, autonomous navigation systems, space-based weaponry, and space combat tactics is beginning to form the foundation for a new era of space defense. Just as Maverick's skill in dogfighting helped protect the skies from potential threats, the future of space exploration and defense will require a new generation of pilots and engineers who can navigate the dangers of the cosmos with the same skill, precision, and resilience. As humanity continues to expand its presence in space, we will need to adapt to new challenges and invent new ways of protecting our assets in the great unknown. In the next part of this documentary, we will take a closer look at how astronauts and military strategists are preparing for the next phase of human expansion into space, where the lessons learned from high-speed dogfights could help shape the future of interplanetary defense. In this section, we've explored the potential future of space combat and how it could resemble the high-speed dogfight seen in Top Gun 2. By delving into the technological advancements in spacecraft design, weapons technology, and pilot training, we've painted a picture of a future where space combat could be as intense and strategic as the aerial battles Maverick faces in the skies. The rapid pace of development in space technology suggests that the future of space exploration and defense will be an exciting, high-tech frontier. When you think of Top Gun 2, what stands out is Maverick's ability to push the boundaries of what's possible. Throughout the film, we see him defy not only his physical limitations, but also the expectations placed upon him by a world that often seems to be moving past him. Maverick isn't just flying a jet, he's engaging in a battle against time, against the ever-evolving world of aviation, and most importantly, against himself. Every high-speed maneuver, every dogfight is a testament to his enduring spirit and his refusal to be left behind. His legacy, one of unmatched skill, strategy, and courage, is what makes him a hero in the skies. But what if this very legacy, this spirit of adventure, this drive to go further, faster, and higher, could be applied to the vast, unexplored frontier of space? As humanity begins to venture into the cosmos with unprecedented ambition, the qualities that Maverick embodies are more relevant than ever. Space exploration, like the dogfights Maverick participates in, is a battle against the unknown. It requires not just technological innovation and scientific rigor, but the bravery and perseverance to confront an environment that is, at times, as hostile as any battlefield. The legacy of Maverick, the ability to face impossible odds, to think strategically, and to defy limitations, will undoubtedly inspire the next generation of space explorers and defenders. The connection between Maverick and space exploration at its core. Top Gun 2 is about testing limits. Maverick is an individual who refuses to accept that age or the changing world of aviation has passed him by. This desire to remain at the cutting edge, to constantly push himself beyond the status quo, mirrors the spirit of space exploration. In the same way that Maverick pushes the envelope in the sky, humanity is on the cusp of pushing the limits of what we can achieve in space. From landing on the moon to planning missions to Mars and beyond, the future of space exploration is poised to be a race not just against other nations or corporations, but against the boundaries of human capability. In both aerial combat and space exploration, the dangers are real. The risks are enormous, and the rewards, while potentially game-changing, come at a cost. Maverick knows that every dogfight is a high-stakes game of skill, and in space, the risks are even more magnified. The vastness of space, the isolation, the technical complexity of missions, and the constant threats from both within and outside of the spacecraft make the challenges faced by astronauts every bit as intense as those Maverick faces in the skies. Whether it's a high-speed chase through the atmosphere or the unknowns of a deep space mission, both pilots and astronauts share a common goal: to explore and conquer environments that were once thought impossible to navigate. As we look forward to humanity's journey into the stars, Maverick's legacy will be a guiding light for the brave men and women who will take on the challenges of space exploration. The spirit of pushing the boundaries, of defying expectations, will be the driving force behind the next chapter of human history. Space exploration, the next frontier of innovation. In the same way that fighter jets were once the pinnacle of technological innovation, spacecraft are now at the forefront of human engineering. The technologies that power today's spacecraft, such as ion engines, nuclear propulsion, and advanced life support systems, represent the cutting edge of human ingenuity. Much like Maverick's aircraft, these spacecraft are designed to achieve things once thought impossible. They will enable humans to travel farther, faster, and more efficiently than ever before. But space exploration isn't just about technological advancements. It's also about adapting to new challenges and pushing forward into the unknown. In Top Gun 2, Maverick's ability to adapt to changing circumstances, to turn the tide of a dogfight with a well-timed maneuver, is what sets him apart from others. Similarly, astronauts will need to adapt to the unknowns of space, from unforeseen technical failures to the psychological toll of long-duration missions. Just as Maverick stays calm and collected under pressure, astronauts will need to remain focused, finding solutions to problems that arise unexpectedly. The legacy of Maverick can be seen in the courage and adaptability of astronauts like those who went to the moon, and those who will one day journey to Mars and beyond. Every new milestone in space exploration, whether it's a successful landing on Mars or the first human to set foot on a distant moon, will be a reflection of this pioneering spirit, one that is unafraid of the unknown and willing to face danger head-on. Bravery in the face of the unknown, just as Maverick faces enemies in the skies, enemies that are unpredictable, dangerous, and often overwhelming. Astronauts will face a vast unknown in space. The challenges of space travel are not merely technological but psychological, emotional, and existential. For Maverick, the dangers of dogfights are immediate and visceral. For astronauts, the challenges of space are constant and invisible, lurking in the form of radiation, isolation, and the psychological toll of being far from Earth. One of the most striking parallels between Maverick's world and space exploration is the idea of courage in the face of uncertainty. Maverick doesn't know if he'll survive a dogfight, but he throws himself into the fray knowing that there is no other choice. He must keep flying no matter the risks. Similarly, astronauts face the uncertainty of space every day. There are no guarantees in space exploration. The dangers are ever present, whether from radiation exposure, life support malfunctions, or the unknowns of deep space environments. And yet, humanity continues to push forward, guided by the same sense of purpose and adventure that Maverick displays in the cockpit. The role of innovation in the future of space combat, just as aviation technology has evolved from the propeller-driven planes of World War II to the supersonic jets of today, space technology will continue to evolve in ways that we can only begin to imagine. In the future, as space becomes more commercialized and militarized, space combat might look more like the high-speed dogfights we see in Top Gun 2, but on a much grander scale. The rapid development of technologies like laser weapons, AI-controlled drones, and hypersonic spacecraft could lead to a future where nations or private companies engage in space-based combat, defending satellite systems, space stations, and even interplanetary resources. The technologies that we're developing today for space exploration, such as high-efficiency propulsion systems and autonomous space stations, could one day be used in space defense. But in the near future, space combat might be less about shooting missiles and more about high-speed maneuvering, electronic warfare, and the use of directed energy weapons to disable enemy spacecraft. Much like Maverick's ability to read the terrain and anticipate his enemy's moves, future space combatants will need to be able to think strategically in a dynamic, fast-moving environment. The battlefield will be vast, with threats coming from all directions, from asteroids, from rival spacecraft, and even from the very fabric of space itself. A legacy that lives on Maverick's journey is more than just about dogfights. It's about a legacy of courage, resilience, and innovation, qualities that are essential to both the world of aviation and the future of space exploration. As humanity looks to the stars, we must ask ourselves, what kind of legacy do we want to leave behind? What kind of spirit will drive our exploration of the cosmos? In many ways, the courage and determination of Maverick, his refusal to accept defeat, his ability to adapt to changing circumstances, and his relentless pursuit of excellence serve as the ideal inspiration for the next generation of astronauts, engineers, and explorers. Just as Maverick showed us the importance of pushing through challenges in the dogfights of Top Gun 2, humanity must carry the same mindset into space. The challenges we face in the future, whether in exploration, defense, or even colonization of other planets, will require the same resilience, ingenuity, and adaptability that Maverick displayed in the skies. As we prepare for the future of space exploration, we must embrace the unknown, just as Maverick embraces the unpredictability of every dogfight. The legacy of those who dare to venture into space will be shaped by the same bold spirit, courage, and strategic thinking that defines Maverick's character. Conclusion: the final frontier. As we conclude this documentary, we recognize that the future of space exploration is not just about technological advancements. It's about human determination, the willingness to face the unknown, to adapt, and to push past the limits of what we thought was possible. Whether in the cockpit of a fighter jet or aboard a spacecraft bound for Mars, the spirit of exploration is the same. The legacy of Maverick, defined by courage, skill, and resilience, will continue to inspire generations of space explorers, reminding us all that the ultimate showdown is not just about surviving in the skies or in space. It's about embracing the challenge of the unknown and using everything we have to rise to meet it. In this final part of the documentary, we've tied the legacy of Maverick to the future of space exploration, drawing parallels between the bravery, adaptability, and innovation that he embodies in Top Gun 2 and the spirit required for humanity's future missions in space. From the cutting-edge technologies being developed to the courage needed to venture into the unknown, this conclusion highlights how Maverick's journey mirrors the path we'll take as we push forward into the stars.